Hi, I'm Dennis Quick. I'm 68 years old now. I was 21 when I was on the Vema, one of the youngest personnel on the Vema at that time. Traveled extensively on the Vema for 2 years. We went from, 1975 through 77. See it with the best. But anyway, I want to give back these videos. There's nothing that I could find on the internet as far as the Vema goes, as far as videos go. It's certainly not color. So anyway, I want to give them back to Columbia, and I want to give them back to the crew. So that's what I'm doing today. Finally found somebody that can put them on the internet for me. I'm not that savvy, even though I was electronic ignition. We were in dry dock in 1976, and that's where most of the pictures were taken. We were there for about a month, and my dad came over with me. He was on the battleship New Jersey during the war, and he actually saw the peace accord in Tokyo Harbor. And he said their ships were bigger than ours, and he was on the biggest ship that we made, the New Jersey. He was on the pom-pom guns, 40 millimeter. Well, anyway, he lived to be 80 years old, and so did my mom. But anyway, I sailed with the best. We had an awesome time. I sailed with Doc Cranston, Mike Sunvik, some of the electronic people, core people. Traveled with Larson, Wiesel, Anderson, Heezon, Tharp, Langset. We had Fijians on board, sometimes Indians on board. They were great. They knew their job. We had Canadian officers, which really steered the ship, took sextant ratings when we couldn't get fixes, and a lot of times we couldn't get fixes. A lot of times we had to change the sat-nav antennas. In fact, I went up on the tower to change the sat-nav antenna, or the mast, I should say, several times while we were at sea, and we still couldn't get a decent fix. Back then we only had like six satellites, and depend on the azimuth. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that, but anyway, some of the pictures are from the crow's nest, some are from the bow. They were basically at Christmas time while we were in the Pacific. We were headed from Hakodate to Fiji, and that month was really bad for us because the captain had to jettison our water because our water was stored up on the flying bridge, and the ship was rolling too much when we came out of Hakodate when we met the Conrad, so he had to jettison most of our water. Needless to say, we went without showers that month, almost a whole week. In fact, I had one guy that used to sleep in the computer room, and we literally hauled him out on deck and gave him a shower, a saltwater shower, because he was so nasty. But that's neither here nor there. Some of the pictures are from Keelung in Taipei, Taiwan, and that's me on the life raft leaving Keelung. We also went to Singapore and Townsville, Australia. While I was on the ship, I saw several 54-degree rolls to port. I thought we were going over. One in the Sea of Akats in Typhoon Test, and also one south of Australia in the Roaring 20s. It was so bad we pulled in gear for 3 days, and we were literally going backwards. And we were late for Adelaide, which was at Christmas time, and we were late 3 days getting into port. I have some rocks that are really my little mementos that I have. I have tons of souvenirs, I got tons of postcards, but the main thing I have is a few rocks. I went to Sicily. I also have a rock from the ocean bottom that we dredged up. So I'm going to show them to you, and then I'll show you my picture. I still have my million-mile patch from 1975 when we hit 1,000,000 miles. That was an awesome time, and I did go back on the ship in 1997. I have a rock here from Sicily, from Mount Etna. I took it from the top. We went up there with a little Fiat car and almost burned up the brakes coming down. We went up in the summertime. There was snow on the mountain, and it was still active like it is now. And this came from the top of Mount Etna. And also, this came from the ocean bottom. It's a very beautiful rock. It's very shiny. It almost seems like it's buffed. It's very heavy. course, from the pressure, but it's a really neat rock, and it's my souvenir that we dredged up somewhere in the South Pacific. We also had a whale bump us one time when we were in the South Pacific. Never knew whose it was. My first month on board, we pulled in Japanese fishing nets. They cut across our gear in the stern, and I was literally cutting off the fishing nets. My first month on board from Hawaii to Hakodate. And it's been an interesting life, especially on the Vema, but I couldn't handle more of it than, say, 2 years. It was very dangerous, and I almost got washed overboard too. Was back stern jumping one time on the stern, and I got a little over anxious and I almost jumped over the rail. And when you're 5,000 miles away from everywhere, you know, we used to go out 35 days at a time and maybe see a ship in the first 2 days, and after that, where we went, we didn't see anything. But I have seen great white albatross, and we went over a submarine south of Australia, never knew whose it was, and then we had planes almost strafe us south of Australia also. They flew over us at about 150 feet at 600 miles an hour, trying to figure out what we were doing. Plus we had shots put across our bow when we were going into Tokyo Harbor, and we had cruisers coming after us when we went into Nakaika to pick up a Russian scientist to go to the Sea of Okhotsk. So in 1997, after my son was healed of cancer, he had to go to Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, and he had a really nasty brain tumor. It was the size of a golf ball in the back of his head. Well, he survived that, and he's now 37 years old. He was 7 when he had the brain tumor. He's having some neurological issues right now because we radiated him, and I really didn't want to. But that's neither here nor there either. But anyway, when I went back on the Mandalay, we had pretty much paid for the cruise and set it up 2 years in advance. Well, that came shortly after my son's brain tumor. So my son was still radiating and going through the chemo when we went on the cruise. It's a 14-day cruise. We went from Grenada to Antigua. What an awesome time. But my ex-wife was sick 4 days of the 14 days from seasickness, and we lost 4 sails at the time. Well, anyway, God gave me confirmation when he healed my son of cancer, and I took this picture in the Caribbean. I didn't see the angel when I took it. I've been sharing it for many years, but my son is totally healed of cancer and doing well. Here's some of his pictures. But he's great and doing well. Make-A-Wish gave him the horse stable and fencing. So, y'all take care. Hope you enjoy these videos, and I just really wanted to give back. I'm 68 years old, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on this earth, but I'm ready to go home at any time. So, take care. God bless. Bye.